Welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yachts, and today my guest is Tara Graham. This is part 2 of my interview. She is a manager and the owner of I.T.S Models and Talent Management. Enjoy.
So how long have you been in the industry?
Let's count when I went to New York City to actually be trained. Because
Okay.
before that I was like dabbling. So I would say like 8-10 years.
Okay.
Around there. So
Yeah.
so I've been around.
So
I've
what
been to every
what do you
class.
think has changed since you first started till now?
Like everything. It's
Yeah.
it doesn't, self-submissions, the access to people now. Before you had to send your stuff to people. Now you can talk to people through Zoom. Self-submissions. Some things are still kind of the same, but it's kind of the way it's being delivered now
Right.
is the biggest thing that I would say has changed.
Do you think fun has, or the craft has it made it better for you, or do you think it's lost some of that since you began?
It's always been fun, but I'm somebody that always is, training. I'm always working with some acting coach. When I went to New York, I studied with Meisner at the neighborhood playhouse. And then I studied the Strasberg Theater and Film Institute. So I had like the two dueling, companies, and I did like a year there at both of them. I studied in England. So like I'm always looking for more. The thing I like about it now is if I'm working with my teacher in New York, I can just do it through here, or we can talk on the phone. I still find when you're dealing with like vocal training, the phone still works because this is kind of delayed a little bit,
Yeah.
especially if you're like singing over it. It just doesn't translate. But I would say, the biggest thing is just how, now you have Instagram. A lot of people, still say you need a website, but I kind of find it as like, what's the point of the website? I know you want to be, put in the Google searches, but
Right.
the first thing people are going to go through. Now people don't even really hand out cards. Most of the agencies I go to, you don't even hand them headshots. That would
Yeah.
have been a sin,
Yep.
10 years ago. If you didn't
Hmm.
have headshots, you were completely
Unprofessional.
unprofessional. I don't want to see you ever again. So it's like, we've gone from that where it's like, I still have them now. And it's kind of like, well, because some people are still old school and they still want the
Right.
headshots, but it's not really, that's kind of gone away. You don't really have a business card anymore. Now, if you meet somebody, it's like, oh, check out my Instagram.
Yeah.
Here's this.
Well, even as an actor, you are, minus the website, you're posted on so many other sites that
Yeah,
it's easy to find
yeah,
you.
exactly. I made the mistake when I first started here is like, I didn't even have my name in the title. And somebody's like, okay, well, if you want people to search for you, you kind of need to put your name in the title. It's like, yeah, but I want to brand this. It's like, no, put your name in the title. No, it's going to know what it is.
Oh, right. Oh my gosh, that's so
It's
funny.
so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, the things that you learn.
Yeah.
What would you say the jobs that you've had, what was your favorite job? Or you don't have to say why, but why was it your favorite job, and what was your least favorite job?
Okay. The least favorite job that comes up like immediately. I had a script. I had a script in New York and somebody called me and I made the foolish decision to say, yes. I don't know what to do with it. I called him back and I was like, I'm not going to look anything like that. You probably want something. Oh, no, that's fine. And I'm like, okay. Like that's usually a deal breaker. If you say to somebody, you have to change every single line, that's it. But this was some student. He found my name and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? So I showed up and then he didn't hire an actress. He hired somebody who was a business major. So I had to sit there and like, go, okay, let's, and she know her lines. So I'm trying to quiz her, teach her acting through it. I'm just like, oh God. And then he had us doing it in like the middle of the city. And I'm like, how are you gonna how are you gonna get the audio of this? This
Oh.
is New York. So like he would be like, okay, we're gonna have to stop from, and like we have to stop for we're doing it at a stoplight. There's no way. So that was probably the worst thing I ever did. And I was just like, oh, please don't let anyone see this ever. Ever, 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 ever.
That's funny.
Um, the best I really enjoyed, even though the production didn't end up going the way I wanted it to, the amount of work and preparation I had to do for it was really rewarding. Was Dorian Gray and playing that character, and just I learned so much about acting because I mean I just had reams and reams of lines, and it was just like I remember calling my acting coach. I'm like, what am I? What do I? What do I do here? I'm working 4 hours and I don't feel like the lines are taking. He's like, okay, just relax, do this. And then finally it, came. So I would say that might be my favorite. It was just so much work and it was so rewarding. And I love that book. Um,
Yeah.
I don't
That
know.
was theater, right?
That
Was
was
that
theater.
that's
Yeah,
on
that
your
was
resume? Now,
theater.
do you prefer theater over being on
I like
camera?
both. I
Do
like
you?
both.
Okay.
I see the benefit for both. If you said what like interests me in the industry to begin with is I've always been a movie buff, so I see, everything. So that's probably the thing that I have always loved. And then I love theater as well because it's the actor's medium. So you have to, it's on you. Whereas if you're filming it, if something doesn't work, well, we'll just cut to here. You know,
Yeah.
you can't do that with theater. So
No.
I think both have their advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, I
Any
can
other
see that.
question? Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
How
I
do,
could keep
how do you
going.
how do you think the industry has changed? That's a good question.
I think, well, like you said, I remember when Law and Order, when it was just Law and Order, there was no other, there
Yeah.
was nothing else but Law and Order. I would have
15 other
to,
Law and Orders.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Everyone, you knew someone, everyone was getting on Law and Order, but I had to pull out the filing cabinet, headshots, make sure resumes are stapled, it's nice and neat, put it in the
Yeah.
folder, send it, mail it, make sure it got there. So I think that is a huge thing that has changed with the self submissions and everything through the internet has changed drastically and has its pros and cons. I feel, and I keep on wondering about this if it's just me, but I think one thing that's changed too is it seems like earlier, it's not even a COVID thing, but earlier there was just like people like love the craft and there was loyalty and it was teamwork. And I don't think I mean, I do have
Mm,
great people that I represent, but I do not feel like people, um, I think that's lacking with people nowadays. So I don't know if
mm.
it's with the instant gratification where people are like, "Oh, I'm signed now. Get me my movie," you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And it's a lot more than that. And there's a lot of work that goes behind it and building your resume and
Yeah.
working on those skills to get people up to that point. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what other people would think about that. So,
Do
and
you
sorry, go ahead.
do you think that we're kind of all playing catch up now because we lost like, 1.5 years
I
with
wonder.
COVID?
Yeah, I wonder if that's what it is, or it's the turn of the, people and expectations, or, like,
Yeah.
I was listening to your podcast earlier, and
Mm,
I forget the casting director who said that everything, I don't think she's doing it as much as she was because you go to sleep, you can't think because it's all everyone is doing.
yeah.
There's no downtime. You can't go home and just go,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm home," or go on vacation or do anything like that. It's like if you're not on, you're losing. So it's that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
crazy drive.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
It's amazing because yeah, you're just constantly in that grind. And
Yeah,
it
that's
just
what
is
it is.
I mean, it's not like you can, oh, I'm going to take a vacation, you know. It's like with an actor will schedule a vacation, and then like that'll be the day. There's like, oh, you just got this. Cancel your vacation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing too with actors, one of our the actor we represent, his name's Philip Chorba, and he is from New York. And
Mm,
it's so funny because when I first bought the company, he said, I just he actually stayed with us probably right after, well, not right after COVID, but he was filming a TV show that we got him in
yeah.
Maryland. Or no, I'm sorry, in Lancaster, Brave the Dark. And he came down and he's like, I remember when I first met you, I didn't really have any money saved and I was just getting into the industry. And
Mm.
I took my money and took the mega bus down just to meet with you for, it was like maybe 15 minutes. So nothing, nothing huge. And we started representing him and we got his first speaking role in Silver Linings Playbook in Philly. And
Oh,
after
really?
that, yeah, so after that, he was on a roll, but COVID kind of just, he was like on the peak of doing amazing things, and then COVID came along, and because of vaccinations, he's not able to work. He's
Right.
on a YouTube. We have him on Turf Valley, which is filming in Maryland, and
Mm.
it's on YouTube, um, airing on YouTube, and he has some more episodes coming up on that. But he just called me the other week, and he's, it's frustrating and it's saddening for me because there's nothing I can
Yeah.
do about it. But
He doesn't want to get the vaccinated. So is that what you're kind of saying?
yeah,
It's kind of led
yeah,
to, yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, it's
yeah,
Hollywood, New York, where, which spectrum it is, they're not going to budge on that stuff. Although it
right.
is, yeah, but I,
I was going to say, I think COVID that I've seen has knocked a few people out of the industry, either because of vaccination reasons or because of self-submitting. They struggle with it, or they can't grasp it, or it's very frustrating for them. So
yeah,
they have just given up trying.
we talked about how the industry has changed. That's another thing that's kind of changed. I mean, we had YouTube, but now you have all these little places where things can come from, yeah, 10 years ago, I mean, Netflix was a thing, but it wasn't really like the streaming wars had not begun, where now you have Hulu, you have
Yeah.
Disney Plus, you have all these, and they're all searching for content. And it's almost like it's become a new cable in some ways. Like they're like, oh, we'll just charge them. We can't get them for cable, so we'll just charge them individually
Yeah.
for our thing,
Yeah.
products.
And that's so true. I actually produced two movies, one during COVID with Sean Patrick Flannery
Mm.
in Lancaster, called All I Want. And it was a Christmas movie. His two kids were in it. And then Reason for the Season with Tom Arnold in it, that actually shot last May in Lancaster. And, you're thinking, oh, interesting. There's movies in Lancaster, which is great. But then there's streaming services out there that, it's on several different,
Yeah.
platforms right now. So, and
I
for the
mean,
next 5 years. So there's always something being made out there, even in the smallest of towns, and
yeah,
it will be somewhere.
it gives the actor more opportunity
Yeah.
where,
No.
it used to be, you just had to go for a short film.
Yeah, right. Well, and probably too, like independent films. There's so many film festivals out there too.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think actors understand that. I tell them it's about two things: experience and exposure. So right now
Yeah.
we're just ending the student films. So you have that. You have indie filmmakers that are
Yeah.
always doing something. So, there's so much out there to work to keep your craft up and always be
Yeah.
out there for the exposure and the experience too.
I think that's the best thing an actor can learn is probably networking, confidence in networking.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely confidence. Yes. And yes, networking for
I
sure.
mean, those are the things that you really need. You have to
Yeah.
have. I mean, everything else can be learned, but those things, if they're not there, it's very hard because
Yeah.
networking is everything. Yeah. And you
Yeah.
brought up a good point. It's like, go to the film festival, meet these people, you know.
Yeah. Well, and even if you go to your local film.orgs, which
Yeah.
they're everywhere, they are always doing events. They're always bringing in panels to come talk. There's people, we just had a group in Pennsylvania that were going out and going to the state to try to get more, to get the incentives to have more films done here. Well, they do events. So there's so many things that you can do to get in front of people
Yeah.
and
That's
network.
great. So we answered the beginning of the day routine. Do you have a nighttime routine?
You know what it is right now is I will put this dog to bed, but I'll watch TV and my episode, I get into these runs. So now my nightly routine is before I go to bed, I watch 1 or 2 episodes of Cheers. I'm at like
Cheers.
season 2. Yeah. I think season 2 episode, I think 8 or 9 I'm on and really enjoying it because I didn't watch it when it was on back then because I was
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's good stuff. It's really good
Yeah.
stuff.
Do you meditate?
I do. I do. I think meditation is really important. And I actually talk to in our development classes, I actually do talk to actors about meditating too. I think it's for you guys, I think it is about getting in that right frame of mind because like we were saying earlier, there's so much going on in the world. You're always go, 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 go. You're in that
Yeah.
grind. And I can see people that bring that grind and the
Yeah.
second guessing and the lack of confidence or how they should approach characters into their auditions. So I do think meditating and going through how their brain works and how the breathing can reset them or different ways to reset them so they
Yeah.
can get in the zone because I think that's really important. I'm a Christian and believe in God, so I do a lot of
Yeah.
prayer, which I also saw on your resume too. I watch Elevation Church, so that's
Yeah. Oh,
my
you do? Yeah.
I do. I wanted to ask you about that. I was like, oh, that's
Oh,
really
man, that's
cool.
so long ago. I
Was
can't
it?
even really. I think that's even before I went to New York the first time. So it's
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah. So it's, but yeah, that was interesting. I
Oh,
know that
wow.
Elevation Church is located in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh,
And
are they in North
I
Carolina?
I th- I
Okay.
think I think where they film is like right down the street from
Oh,
kind of
that's
where I am,
funny. Yeah, I wasn't
where
sure
they
if it
kind of say,
was Atlanta or maybe it is North Carolina, but I enjoy
yeah,
that church a lot. That's really
yeah.
good. That's funny.
With meditation, the thing that I hear from casting directors most, even just reading their books, is that's something that a lot of actors will bring is this neediness. And it's like they can sense that almost like a dog, they just
Yeah.
sense that fear. And it's like, how do you let that go? Yes, this may be the most important audition of your life, but you can't come into the room with that idea or have it on tape because it's just going to show. So it's like meditation, prayer. Those are things that can help you reset and
Center.
go
Hmm.
to it. I mean, they're not, exact, it's not like, okay, up, that's it. It's like, it's human emotion,
Right.
anything could change, the air conditioning could change and be like, oh no, I'm hot. Now I'm sweating.
Yeah, right, right. Well, I think it's just like I mean, people can tell if their friend is sick and it's just the cues that you watch, with different ways they look or different way they talk. You're like, oh, you're not feeling well or you're off today. I think it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So, it is that neediness that comes through that could ruin it. The other thing that I see that ruins things for actors is apologizing. So
Really
yeah.
interesting.
So if I go into it, it's always setting your tone off in the audition the right way. So if
Yeah.
you are setting the tone off by, hey, I'm Tara, it's nice to meet you. I am so sorry. I wanted to work on this project a little more. I didn't get the copy down the whole way, but I really tried. Or, hey, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
just
Not doing
coming
that.
in. I'm sorry. And they start off on that negative tone, apologizing. That just ruins it the entire
It's
time.
almost like you've introduced it for failure. It's like, hey, this is not going to be good. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
great.
Yeah, if
So
you
like,
put
even if it was good, it's like, it's best to just not say anything and then let them, do it. But once you like introduce that to it, now they're going to be like looking for it. It's like, well, yeah, I can understand, as opposed to if you just went and
exactly.
did it and maybe it wasn't as good, but they don't know because I mean, you could work on the lines for hours and hours and hours and it still might not be what they want. I mean, there's no, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah, there's a lot of actors that'll go out there and just be like, "Well, I'll just wing it today." It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
tell me, tell me what art form that has ever worked.
I
Yeah, piano
know.
player.
I
I'm just gonna
know.
wing it. It's like,
Yeah.
no.
Well, and the other thing today, like we have, uh, well, I won't even say it, but we have auditions now and we got them on Thursday and they had till today to send them in. So I'm thinking like, hey, these people, summer's coming up, they're, ready to work and
Yeah.
all of that stuff. And then what happens is they were like,
You
oh,
get them
well,
all in like 2 minutes before the deadline.
yeah, I'm not feeling that well, or I didn't get the take I wanted to. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? So they don't
Yeah.
even turn in their submissions.
Yeah, you can't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Even if you don't like
exactly.
it, you got to put it in. That's death. You
Yeah,
just don't show it,
I
I
know.
mean,
That's
maybe
like I
on
try.
backstage you could get away with that, but like
Yeah,
if you did that on Actors
exactly.
Access or anybody that's refutable, is just going to be like,
I know. Oh, it's a shame.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
shame. I mean, sometimes the actor is their worst. But yeah, and then another thing I see is actors that will, they'll be like, "Oh, can I start over again?" It's like, no, just they want to see that you can go through it all the way through because you can't do that on set.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you're a certain level, you
It-
could do that, but
yeah.
but you don't want to get in
Listen-
the habit. You don't want to get into the habit of going, yeah, can I go again? That was good.
yeah,
Like
right, right. I could do better. Give me a sec. Yeah.
you'd never get anything done. It's like, no, just do that for the next. You'd be like, get them off the set.
Yeah.
Want
Get
them
the
off
new
the
guy
set.
in here.
And I
Yeah.
never would have said it. One of the casting directors told me she hired somebody from the tape, and it was a big role, and they brought him out there, and the camera, they did action, and he froze. And that was, and
Really?
yeah, she had to like get called from like the producer, like he can never audition again.
Oh
And
my
it's like,
gosh,
that's
that's
sad.
crazy.
It's like here, this could have been his break. This here, here's a recurring role in a series, and you froze. But that's the
Yeah.
thing that's scary about self tapes. It's like you don't know. Like, was that the 50th take that they got? It's like how long did it take them to get there?
Yeah, right. Oh, that's a shame.
I
That's
know.
interesting.
Like, yeah, she said he just froze, and she got all these letters. Then they're like, okay, he can never.
There, I wonder if he's still in the business.
I guess you could come back from that, but I mean, like, that's like a story that's going to get around.
Yeah, that's
Like,
that's hard
everybody's going to
to
be like, oh, so and so, yeah, he froze. Oh,
yeah, that's
really?
hard to
Yeah, I don't want to
that's
work
hard
with
to
him.
come back from.
It's like you got like there's the thing where you have the shot.
On the one movie, we had a girl who was 10, and in her self-tape, she did amazing. Actually had with the director, had a meeting through Zoom and everything
Yeah.
was
Oh, wow.
perfect. Had great conversation. She's adorable, but when she got on set, her every line she had was really robotic, like, hi there, how are you? And it completely changed. And it was, I
Uh,
think, 3 days into the movie, and they had to, the main actor was like, yeah, that's gonna ruin the film. We need to bring someone in. And they were only in from he lived in Texas. He was only in for a week. So we were like, oh my
yeah.
gosh, we just wasted so many days and now we have to reshoot everything with a new person. So
Yeah.
it is
Did you
interesting.
guys like tell him like,
I had to talk to the mom and the daughter because she was only 10. So I had to
yeah,
say it, I mean, clearly in a nice way, because I can't do that.
yeah,
I
that's hard.
have
I
that
mean,
in
yeah,
me.
it's you're saying
But
a 10-year-old. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure
right.
there's somebody in LA that might be like, you're fired. Get off the
Yeah.
set.
There's
And
several people I know that would have handled it differently in New York. I've had some
yeah,
people cry and I'm like, oh my gosh.
yeah, you better show up
Oh
to
yeah.
perform. There's no, there's no crying here. There's no
Now,
crying in baseball.
do you think that you perform better under pressure, where that's what the feeling is in the room, and give it your best, or do you feel you perform your best when you're not coddled, but you're more, what would be the word I'm looking for?
It's a middle. I know what you mean. It's like that middle ground right there where
Okay.
you can't be too relaxed because you might, it's got to be kind of in that, kind of want to find that middle ground.
Yeah.
I mean, today I could probably do it with both, but I mean, if we're talking about what I would prefer is kind of that middle, a little bit of both. I mean, I'm
Okay.
somebody who prepares a lot, so I don't know. It's gonna be hard to kind of like throw me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, it can always be, jarring if like you're in the audition and like, oh, we think you'd be ready for this. Can you go out here? And it's like, okay, now you gotta learn something new and try and learn it as best you can. And it's like, okay, make sure you bring the eyes up so that if we can't see your eyes, there's no,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah. That's an important one, especially in sorry, I got dogs.
yeah.
That's an
Oh, that's
important
okay.
one with the self submissions too, is looking down. Or I have people where we talk about
I
eye
know.
lines and they're like this doing their whole performance. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
it's like,
my
no,
gosh.
it's like you would never do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's hard. I mean, it's hard, the audition, because it's all on you. It's
Yeah.
not like anything else. So you have to hold the camera. You've got to hold our attention for a certain period of time. Whereas, with something else, we could cut around it.
Yeah.
But with that, it's just you. We're
Yeah.
hearing another voice.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
it.
That
What do
is
you
tough.
what do you bring? What do you bring to it? And
Yeah.
it just takes a lot of training and just kind of letting go is, I would say, the best thing. Just letting go, and no, it's very hard because
Yeah.
it's not like math where you can like work harder and do that. You have to work harder, but you have to like then let go. So you work and work and work, and then you let it go
Yeah.
and you see where it's at. And that's very jarring because it's like, you can't, sometimes doing too much will mess it up. I mean, it's like you can work too hard on something. And I mean, it's such that fine line that has
Yeah.
to go in there. And, now we're in the world of like naturalistic acting. They don't want,
Yeah.
and, and then there's the whole guessing game of, you don't know what, you don't, what did they think?
Yeah. Right.
What goes on in the other room? You could drive yourself mad.
Oh, you
Um,
can. That's
there's
very
there's
true.
there's a film, an actor about an
Yeah.
actor who goes mad just trying to figure out what the casting director's
What
doing.
are
I don't
they
know. He just can't
saying?
do it. It's like at the end of the
Yeah.
movie, they're like, no, we like really liked him, but apparently he, couldn't handle any stats.
Got a break. Yeah, that's one thing. To get into this industry, you
Got it
have to
right.
be mentally strong. Yeah.
Yes.
And I will
Yeah.
tell, when we do, and I'm sure you do it too, is when we submit our talent for different projects, I will have them do 2 to 3 different takes and make sure to tell them, look, if you're going to do different takes, make sure you approach the character a whole different way than you
Yeah.
did the
Do it
first time.
different.
And I will send it, because that's what they would do in the casting room. So I make sure that
Yeah.
they send several different takes and either take the best out of what they send and make sure
Yeah.
that they're completely different, just so they can see what range of actress you are,
Yeah. Yeah. Don't just send in 3 takes of you. Well,
doing the
this was the
same.
best one. This one was kind of good, and this is there. I can't decide. You decide.
Yeah. This one I'm looking to the right of the camera. This one I'm looking to the left. That's not what I mean.
Yeah, no, that's not. I could see the casting director think, okay, wasted our time.
Yeah, right. That's true. Oh
So,
gosh.
what are you reading right now?
You know what? I am reading, I cannot, it's right over there and I can't even see it. Um,
I know how that is.
it's a business book. I can't
Oh,
even
really?
remember what it's called. I'm gonna have to look it up. It's really, I'm sure you've
Yeah.
already, the art is it the art of You know, you would think I would know what it's called, but I cannot remember what the name of it is. But it's really, if I told you, it's about, it was
Yeah.
written back a long time ago, and the guy was hired by in Pittsburgh to interview several millionaires, how they got there, what their story was, how they overcame it, what drove them. And he wrote this book, and it's really interesting, and all the different stories and the similarities that every millionaire
Not
had.
Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow
Yes.
Rich. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a great book.
Thank
That's
you. Oh my gosh. I could not get that off.
and you see the you see the mindset that was there. And you can see the similarities between here and now. It's all
Still
that's
relevant.
the thing. Mindset, I think, is the thing
Yes.
that you can take from any generation, is that mindset of being able to win.
Yeah.
If you don't think you can win, chances are, you're not going to convince anybody else that you can win or sell a business or do anything. It's all about, believing and making sure that you getting it in that subconscious, because
Yes.
that's where it's got to go. It's got to be in there deep. And that's where I
Yeah.
think meditation, helps, or hypnotism. I worked with somebody who did hypnosis for actors, and she talked about how, that helped her a great deal on going deeper into character. I actually had her do it on me on the
Oh,
show. You
really?
should watch it. Yeah,
Oh, I want
it's an
to.
interesting thing.
Oh, you have to send me
She's an
which one
interesting
that
one.
is.
I will definitely send that to you.
That's
Um,
interesting. I think,
what do you? Oh, no,
another
no,
book,
go ahead.
if you haven't read this book by Ed Milet, I listen to him a lot.
Mm.
One More. And his book's
Oh,
really
I
interesting.
just bought that. I
Oh,
just
you
bought that
did.
book. I need to read that. I'm excited.
You'll like that. You'll definitely like that one, because I think it's important if you take what he's saying and put it into acting,
Yeah.
where one more podcast or one
Yeah.
more audition could take you from where you're at to where you've been wanting to go, and it's still the mind
Yeah.
frame and consistency. So that one's a good
I
one.
I think reading's the best thing an actor can do, because it's like you can read about how other actors felt. You can read about there's so many books from casting directors giving you kind of an
Yeah.
insight into what they were thinking and how they were doing it. Bonnie Gillespie, she, Anna Gunn, they were doing Breaking Bad, and she was sick, and her whole family was sick, and she called her up. And she's like, "Look, you need to get down here and do that." It just shows the relationships you can build with casting directors. They'll fight for you if they see that you're worth fighting for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's once again
Yeah.
networking.
Yeah, back to the networking. I agree. And I think, along with like how you guys are always taking classes in different areas, and like you said, you're always working on it. I tell people you can do so much more than, hey, I don't want to get into a class. You can read, like you said, you can go out and people watch. You can watch movies and TV shows. It's everywhere. You can
Heck yeah.
learn everywhere. And that
Yeah.
should never stop.
Audiobook, everything. There's always, was it How to Survive in Hollywood, which is I can't tell if it's a direct clue, but it's a different time period now, because they're not mentioning YouTube and everything, but the
Yeah.
mentality of she
Yeah.
talks about how, like, if you call the and the executive lets you wait for like a minute or two, that shows you where you are in in the realm. I just can like imagine all this stuff. It's like swimming with sharks stuff, where you're just like, it's like, wow, yeah, I know, I can definitely see that happening. What are you listening to right now? Anything interesting?
You know what? In business on my calendar, I'm old school. I write it on the schedule. I'll do a
Yeah,
leadership day. I'll do a
same
God
here.
day. So, oh, good.
Yeah,
I'm not the only one. So, but I'll listen
I
to,
like being able to cross it off. Being able to.
yes. Yeah. It gives
There's
you this
nothing more freeing than going.
check.
You can't do that with, like, I don't know, maybe you can, but
Yeah. It's not the same in apps or like on your phone. It's not the same.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
No,
yeah.
it's not. I want to be able to just like like run a line through it. What are you
Yes.
watching right now?
I just finished Night Agent, which I thought was good. I just started Citadel on Amazon Prime, which is
Oh yeah.
interesting. Yeah. And you know what? I was dying for, Daisy, Daisy, is it Daisy Jones and the Six? Have you seen
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah. I haven't seen that yet, but I do want to see that. That's
I think, yeah, I think it's good. I think the first two episodes I was like, and then I was like crying by the end of it. So I was like, this is good. I love the stuff where
yeah.
you watch it and the very end you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. So no,
Yeah.
I've basically watched everything. So now I'm into like what else is out there? What are you watching?
I'm watching Succession right now.
Ooh,
That
yes,
seems
that's
to
a good
be
one.
just like sucking everything out of me. It's just like it's so interesting.
How do you
The
feel about
dynamic.
the character in his method acting? His name's not coming to me.
The guy that plays Kendall. Yeah, I heard about.
Yeah, what
I don't know. I'm kind of like torn between the two. As I, heard what Brian Cox said about him, and he was like, I think he's kind of in a dangerous place because it's like he has to go through this mental preparation to put him through, and it's like, how long can you do that? And I always like to
yes.
look at like what the older actor is doing. I mean, look at Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, he's no longer doing this
Yeah.
anymore. He put himself through so much, in some ways. I don't know. I'd have to see I mean, sometimes it's necessary to do extreme things like that
Yeah.
I don't know. I think always the less you have to do is the better, because it's just gonna, it's just gonna. Saw that movie, Beau Was Afraid, with Joaquin Phoenix, and actually interviewed somebody who actually worked with Joaquin Phoenix. He said, when you get there on set, he wants to be referred to by the character,
Yeah.
when it's in the grind.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. There's benefits to both. I mean, there's people that take it to an nth degree, like Shia LaBeouf, who did like he didn't shower for days on end. It's like, okay, now you're making it hard to work with you. It's like, what do you want us to do? Pretend that would be like the smell of the homeless on the train, and I still I'll be on the train. I'll be like, are we gonna pretend like we don't smell this? I mean, this is like god awful.
Yeah, right, right.
So like there are things like that, or what Jared Leto did, where he's sending rats to
Yeah.
people and anal beads to his co-stars. I mean,
So
like
funny.
that's a little bit much. It's like, are you trying to sabotage the project, or are you because it's like, if it helps the project, that's one thing, but then there's like, okay, what are we doing here?
That's funny.
You smell
Yes.
awful. Go take a bath.
Yeah, right.
So anyways, this has been great. How can people reach you?
Just you could go to the website, which is www.itstalent.net, and all our information is there.
Anything
Yeah.
else you
No, I don't think so. I appreciate you of having me on. This is actually my first podcast, so thank you for the
I know, I saw
opportunity.
that.
Yeah, it was
This has been fun. This is
yeah, it was
great. It
nice meeting you.
was very nice meeting you. Okay, that about does it for this episode. I want to thank Tara Graham. Also, you can find me at Justin Yachts. Please like, share, and subscribe, and consider checking out the YouTube channel. And I will see you next time on the DMF.